students, let's learn the topic protein synthesis. You have already learned this topic in short in 10th standard. This year you are going to learn it in more details. And the first question that you will ask me is when you are eating proteins, why does your body need to produce proteins? So children, we eat proteins so that the proteins can be converted into the simple molecules, that is amino acids. And these amino acids are then used by your body to make a protein which is required by your own body. Means the protein that you eat, it is useless for your body. Other than making amino acid, it has no use in your body. So whenever your body requires a protein, it has to make or synthesize the proteins by itself. And to make that protein, the amino acids are required, and so that is the reason why you eat proteins. Now proteins are the important biomolecules that are present inside our body. Biomolecules means the molecules which are present and synthesized by the living cell. So they are called as biomolecules. They are one of the most important biomolecules of our body. They are also one of the most important component because it gives a structure to the enzymes and hormones. As you all know that the enzymes and hormones are made up of proteins. So these proteins which make up the enzymes and hormones also give a particular structure to those enzymes and those hormones. Right? So cell needs to produce proteins from time to time, as and how wear and tear takes place in your body. The cell needs to produce proteins in order to repair that wear and tear. Right? So whenever the cell needs to produce a protein, right, that in that process of production of proteins, two steps are involved. The first step in synthesis of protein or production of protein is transcription. Transcribe means to copy, and translation, that is according to the information that is copied, the proteins are synthesized, and that is called as translation. Now let us talk about the word transcription. Transcription is the process of copying genetic information. So it is a process in which genetic information is copied from one template of or one template strand of DNA into a single stranded RNA transcript. It is called as transcription. So now when your body requires a protein, right, first the protein or the proteins are always in the form of genes, and first the part on DNA where the gene is present, that part opens up, correct? One of the DNA template is used to copy the information from the template to the RNA, correct? So the information which is present on the DNA template is copied onto the RNA, right? And this process of copying the information, it is just like xeroxing the information, right, from DNA to RNA. And this process, that is copying of information from one of the template of DNA to the transcript RNA or to the single stranded RNA, is called as transcription. And most probably the RNA is mRNA. Apart from this, even the tRNAs and rRNAs are also formed on the DNA. Now during this process, the synthesis of complementary strand of RNA takes place, right? So when we copy the information, what happens is whatever nucleotide base pairs are present on this strand, right, will be copied on that strand in the form of complementary base pairs. So if a DNA shows a adenine nucleotide here, on RNA it will have a thymine nucleotide. So the information is carried or copied in the form of complementary base pairs. The base pairs on DNA strands will be complemented by the base pairs present on the RNA strands, right? While we do so, we also need to remember that in RNA, instead of thymine, uracil is used. So wherever there will be thymine present, or wherever the thymine is present on the DNA, right, it will be taken as an uracil by the RNA, and accordingly it will do the process of complementation, correct? So let us in short find out what is transcription. Transcription is copying the information from a DNA template, right, to the mRNA, and that process is called as transcription. Now let us talk about central dogma. It is asked in the exam many times. What is central dogma? It is a unidirectional flow of information from DNA to the RNA, right? So information is getting transferred from DNA to RNA and from RNA to form the proteins. It is called as central dogma in protein synthesis. F.H.C. Crick in 1958 proposed the central dogma, right, to the world, right? So what is central dogma? It is a unidirectional flow, right? The information is flowing in a single direction. It does not have any back flow. So unidirectional flow of information from DNA to RNA and from RNA to protein is called as central dogma. The DNA information is copied onto mRNA. The process is called as transcription, and from mRNA the information is translated in to form the polypeptide or the protein molecule, and in short this would be the central dogma of protein synthesis. So a central dogma in protein synthesis can be written in one sentence also, whereas if you put it into words, right, you have to say that it is a unidirectional flow of information from DNA to RNA and from RNA to the proteins, right? So if you see the arrows here, the arrows point into one direction, right? But then let us talk about retroviruses or retrobacteria, correct? In that, central dogma is the process in which the DNA, from DNA the mRNA is made, correct? In the retroviruses the central dogma is slightly different, right, where the information from DNA is carried on to the mRNA, and from mRNA the information is translated to form the protein molecule. That is called as translation. So transcription and translation appears to be same, but in retroviruses the mRNA can again form a DNA template, right, and with the use of reverse transcriptase, right, with the use of reverse transcriptase, if you can collect all the mRNAs in your body, right, you can actually prepare a DNA of your body. So that means if the information from DNA is copied to mRNA, and if you can collect all those copied mRNA or all the mRNAs present in your body, you can actually make a DNA molecule, the entire DNA molecule of your body. Let us learn about transcription. Transcription, during transcription, information from one of the strands of DNA is copied into RNA. So you know that DNA is a double helical structure. That means DNA molecule is made up of two strands. So when the transcription is done, only one of the strand of the DNA, right, from only one of the strand of the DNA, the information is copied onto mRNA. Both the strands of DNA or both the templates of DNA do not participate into transcription at the same time. So one of the DNA strand forms an mRNA on it, correct? So DNA strand acts as a template, right? The strand on which the mRNA is going to be formed, that strand is called as a template strand of the DNA. Enzyme RNA polymerase catalyzes the formation of RNA transcript, right? Formation of the copy of the RNA. What is required is RNA polymerase presence is required, because it is the enzyme which catalyzes this reaction. In absence of this enzyme polymerase, the transcription won't take place, right? So RNA transcript means copy of RNA can only be produced if the enzyme RNA polymerase is present during the process of transcription. In eukaryotes, transcription takes place in nucleus, right? So eukaryotes, what happens is transcription takes place in nucleus. So if you look at the cell of eukaryotes, correct? If this is a nucleus, so transcription will take place here, whereas the translation process takes place outside the nucleus, that is in the cytoplasm, because in cytoplasm ribosomes are present and those are the organelles in which proteins are going to be produced, right? So protein production is translation, whereas copying the information from DNA to mRNA is called as transcription. So transcription takes place inside the nucleus translation takes place outside the nucleus inside in the cytoplasm. DNA transfers information from mRNA, right? So what happens during the process of transcription? The DNA transfers the information that it has onto mRNA, correct? Like passing the parcel, right? If I have the information, I am sending the information. Suppose if I am the DNA template, so whatever information I have, I am passing that information onto an mRNA. Now mRNA takes that information. mRNA itself is called as messenger RNA. So it will carry that information as a message to the ribosomes, where ribosome is going to read the message, and according to the message the protein will be produced. Then transcription occurs in nucleus during G1 and G2 phases of cell cycle. So you know that the process of formation of DNA takes place inside the during the interphase or the resting period of the cell cycle. That in that the G1 and G2 phases are the phases in which the transcription or copying of information for DNA to mRNA takes place. DNA has a promoter and a terminator site. So like a message, like we have a message, or if we get a letter, it starts somewhere and it ends somewhere. So also the DNA, if the information is present on the DNA, right, the information starts from the promoter site and the information ends in the terminator site. So if it is, this is the template of DNA, it will have a promoter here and a terminator here. That means the information is in between this promoter and terminator. So the information begins here and the information will end here in the terminator site. So transcription starts at promoter and ends at the terminator site. So if this is the DNA, the mRNA is formed, or the mRNA formation starts from the promoter site, right? And slowly the mRNA will form up to the terminator site, and this is where the mRNA will stop, or the formation of mRNA will stop, right? So we will have only that much mRNA, right? It will have the information only from in between the promoter and the terminator site. So process of transcription in prokaryotes and in eukaryotes takes place in 3 steps. So when we talk about transcription, right, it actually takes place in 3 steps. The first step is initiation, that means to begin with. The second step is elongation, and the third step will be termination. We are going to study all these 3 steps in detail. Students, let's talk about the transcriptional unit, and the transcriptional unit is the transcribed segment of DNA, right? Transcriptional unit is a unit which is the transcribed, or the part of the DNA which is getting copied. That DNA is called as the transcriptional unit. The transcriptional unit consists of 3 parts. It is having a promoter gene, from where the transcription is going to begin, a structural gene, the middle portion having the main information, and the terminator where the transcription process ends, right? 2 strands of DNA in structural gene shows. So if you take 2 strands of DNA, right, let us see the structural gene and presence of promoter and terminator into it. If you see the first strand of DNA, it is running in this direction, that is the 5'3' direction, correct? And this strand is called as a template strand. Whereas if you see the other strand of DNA, it is running in an opposite direction, that is from the 5' end to the 3' end, and this DNA strand is called as the complementary strand, correct? Whereas an structural gene is present in between the promoter and terminator. So if you see this complementary strand, right, this is the strand on which the mRNA is going to be produced. So the 5' end of that complementary strand shows the presence of a small sequence of DNA, that is the promoter, whereas the 3' end on the complementary strands is the place where the terminator is present, and in between the promoter and the terminator you find the structural gene. Now let us talk about promoter. It is a small sequence of DNA. What is promoter actually? It is a small DNA sequence, right? It is having some few base pairs DNA. It is a small DNA sequence to which the RNA polymerase binds, right? So RNA polymerase has its own importance in the process of transcription, because without the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter, the transcription cannot begin. That means in order to form an mRNA, that particular complementary strand of DNA must have a promoter DNA sequence. So a DNA sequence, a small DNA sequence is called as promoter, and the RNA polymerase binds to this promoter region, right? So the RNA polymerase binds to the promoter region, and this marks the beginning of the process of transcription. Copying process starts as soon as RNA polymerase gets binded to the promoter site. Correct? So structural genes are two strands of DNA with opposite polarity. So if you see this two strands of DNA, the strands of DNA are showing opposite polarity, both running against each other, right? One strand is running in 3' 5' direction, whereas the other strand is running in 5' 3' direction. So this strand which runs in an 5' 3' direction is called as a template strand of DNA. It does not participate in the process of mRNA formation, whereas the strand which runs from 5' 3' direction is called the complementary strand, or it is also called as the coding strand, because this is the strand on which the transcription takes place. So template strand is not involved in transcription, whereas the complementary strand or the coding strand is the strand on which the transcription will take place. So template is an actual coding strand, right? And the information of this DNA, right? So the complementary strand is the actual coding strand, right? So the complementary strand is the actual coding strand from where information of DNA is copied to mRNA. So this is the strand, that is the complementary strand, on which the DNA or the information is copied onto the mRNA. Then at the end we have a terminator. It's located at 3' end of a coding strand, and it defines the end of the transcription. So if you see that 3' end, there is a terminator present here, and this terminator will work to function, and the function of this terminator is to end the process of transcription. So the process of transcription begins from the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter region, that is the beginning of the transcription. It will copy down the structural gene, and it will come to an end where the terminator part will terminate the process of transcription. Let us try to see how the transcription takes place. Now in the process of transcription, the double helix DNA which is taking part in the process of transcription, that has its own importance. What happens is, the first step is the promoter binds to the RNA polymerase, right? So you know that the promoter is the region of the DNA, a small DNA sequence where RNA polymerase can bind, and these promoters are present only on the complementary strands of the DNA. Now if you can see the double stranded DNA helix here, right? I have purposely put it in two colors. The red strand is the template strand, right, which does not participate in the process of transcription, and so it is called as antisense strand, whereas the yellow colored strand is called as the complementary strand. It is called as coding strand, or it is also called as sense strand, because this is the strand on which the mRNA is going to get transcribed or produced, right? So this particular complementary strand has a small DNA sequence which is called as the promoter, and to this promoter the RNA polymerase binds, and it marks the beginning of the process of transcription. Due to the binding of the RNA polymerase, the unbinding of DNA takes place. The coiling of the DNA opens up. The two strands of DNA go away from each other, exposing the base pairs to the nucleoplasm. One strand is a template and other strand is complementary, right? So this strand is called as template strand. The opposite strand is called as complementary strand. Template is antisense because it does not take part in transcription. Complementary strand is called as sense strand because it takes part in the process of transcription, right? So ribonucleoside triphosphates join to DNA template chain. So what happens? The RNAs or the RNA nitrogen bases start binding to this particular DNA strand, right? So as and how the RNA polymerase moves forward, slowly the opposite complementary ribonucleotides get attached, and as and how the RNA polymerase moves forward, the mRNA is slowly increasing in size. So as and how the RNA polymerase moves forward, the mRNA strand goes on growing, correct? By addition of new ribonucleoside triphosphates, forming a DNA RNA hybrid. So what happens when this happens? You see a mRNA strand formed here, and this hybrid strands, one strand is RNA, the other strand of DNA, so it is called as an hybrid combination of DNA RNA strands. When RNA polymerase reaches the termination sequence, so this polymerase when reach this terminator site, what happens is it detaches from the DNA and fully formed mRNA is released. So what happens as this RNA polymerase reach here, the RNA polymerase along with the mRNA detaches itself from the DNA, it comes out of it, and as soon as the RNA polymerase is moving forward, the helix will again start to coil. Students, in bacteria, the mRNA that is produced does not need to get processed, right? जो प्रोकॅरियोट्स असतात त्या प्रोकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो mRNA तयार होतो त्याला फर्दर प्रोसेसिंगची गरज नाहीये. तो mRNA ऑलरेडी रेडी असतो आणि त्याला डायरेक्ट प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये एंटर करता येतं. पण युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो mRNA तयार होतो तो इमॅच्युअर असतो, राईट? त्याला पहिले प्रोसेसिंगची गरज लागते आणि मग त्याला मॅच्युअर mRNA मध्ये कन्वर्ट करावं लागतं. सो जे प्रोकॅरियोट्स आहेत किंवा बॅक्टेरिया हा प्रोकॅरियोट्स मध्ये येतो हे आपल्याला माहितीये. प्रोकॅरियोट्स possesses only one type of RNA polymerase, राईट? RNA polymerase जो आहे तो एकाच प्रकारचा पाहायला मिळतो प्रोकॅरियोट्स मध्ये. मात्र युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये तीन वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे RNA polymerase पाहायला मिळतात. RNA polymerase 1 जो आहे त्याच्या मदतीने आपल्याला DNA पासनं किंवा DNA वरती RNA ट्रान्सक्राइब करता येतो. RNA polymerase 2 च्या मदतीने आपण DNA वरती mRNA तयार करत असतो. पण हा जो mRNA तयार होत असतो तो प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट आहे किंवा आपण त्याला hnRNA म्हणतो, कारण त्याला आपण हेट्रोजेनस न्यूक्लियर RNA म्हणतो, कारण तो अजूनही जो mRNA आहे किंवा प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस या प्रोसेस मध्ये जाण्याच्या साठी तयार झालेला mRNA नाहीये. अजूनही याला प्रोसेसिंग करावं लागणार आहे. तेव्हा कुठे हा mRNA जो आहे तो RNA प्रोटीन किंवा प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये भाग घेऊ शकतो, राईट? RNA polymerase 3 च्या मदतीने आपण DNA वरती tRNA ट्रान्सक्राइब करू शकतो, राईट? आणि याच RNA polymerase 3 च्या मदतीने आपण snRNA सुद्धा तयार करू शकतो, दॅट इज स्मॉल न्यूक्लियर RNA. सो तूर्त तरी इतकंच माहिती पाहिजे तुम्हाला की प्रोकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो mRNA असतो तो मॅच्युअर्ड असतो, तो डायरेक्ट प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये भाग घेऊ शकतो. पण युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो mRNA तयार होतो तो इमॅच्युअर असतो, कारण त्याच्यामध्ये इंट्रॉन्स आणि एक्झॉन्स नावाचे सेक्शन्स असतात. त्यातले आपल्याला इंट्रॉन्स काढून टाकावे लागतात. मग एक्झॉन्सला आपण एकत्र जोडतो आणि त्याच्यानंतर तो mRNA जो आहे तो प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये भाग घेण्याच्या लायक बनत असतो, राईट? आता ट्रान्सक्रिप्शन युनिट आणि जीन म्हणजे काय ते बघूया. ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल जे युनिट असतात, राईट, किंवा जीन कशाला म्हणायचं ते आपण बघूया. DNA सिक्वेन्सेस दॅट कोड फॉर tRNA, rRNA किंवा mRNA are called as or are defined as gene, right? So DNA चा असा सिक्वेन्स ज्याच्यावर mRNA, tRNA किंवा rRNA तयार करण्याची जी प्रोसेस आहे ती लिहिलेली असते त्या डीएनएच्या पार्टला आपण जीन असं म्हणतो. राईट, पुन्हा एकदा सांगते, जीन म्हणजे काय? इट इज द कोड डीएनए सिक्वेन्स विच कोड्स फॉर, राईट, असा डीएनए सिक्वेन्स ज्याच्याकडे इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे. कशाची इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे? टीआरएनए, आरआरएनए आणि एमआरएनए तयार करण्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन त्या सिक्वेन्सेस कडे आहे आणि म्हणून अशा डीएनए सिक्वेन्सला आपण जीन असं म्हणतो. सिस्ट्रॉन इज अ सेगमेंट ऑफ डीएनए कोडिंग फॉर पॉलीपेप्टाइड. सो जेव्हा आपण जीन बद्दल बोलतो तो जीन हा सेगमेंट आहे डीएनएचा आणि या डीएनए सेगमेंटचे आपण 3 मुख्य भाग करू शकतो. राईट, इट इज रेकॉन, इट इज म्युटॉन, रेकॉन आणि सिस्ट्रॉन असे जीनचे 3 भाग केले जाऊ शकतात. यातला जो सिस्ट्रॉन नावाचा भाग असतो तो सर्वात मोठा पार्ट आहे जीनचा आणि त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो? सिस्ट्रॉन इज अ सेगमेंट ऑफ डीएनए विच कोड्स फॉर पॉलीपेप्टाइड. म्हणजे हा जो सेगमेंट आहे ज्याला आपण सिस्ट्रॉन म्हणतो याच्याकडे प्रोटीन तयार करण्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन असते. राईट, जीन मध्ये छोटासा सेक्शन असतो ज्याला रेकॉन म्हणतात आणि आणखीन एक युनिट असतो ज्याला न्यूट्रॉन म्हणतात. राईट, या 3 युनिट पैकी सिस्ट्रॉन नावाचा जो युनिट असतो जीन मध्ये त्याच्याकडे प्रोटीन तयार करण्याची रेसिपी असते. राईट, सो सिस्ट्रॉन इज अ सेगमेंट ऑफ डीएनए कोडिंग फॉर पॉलीपेप्टाइड. पॉलीपेप्टाइड मीन्स प्रोटीन्स. सो स्ट्रक्चरल जीन्स, राईट, या सिस्ट्रॉनला आपण आणखीन एका नावाने संबोधतो, आपण त्याला स्ट्रक्चरल जीन म्हणतो. राईट, हा जो सिस्ट्रॉन युनिट आहे याला आपण स्ट्रक्चरल जीन सुद्धा म्हणतो. राईट, अ स्ट्रक्चरल जीन इन अ ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल युनिट. एका ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल युनिट मध्ये किती स्ट्रक्चरल जीन आहे यावरून आपण त्या ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल युनिट्सला 2 भागामध्ये क्लासिफाय करू शकतो. काही ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल जे युनिट असतात त्याच्यामध्ये एक म्युटॉन, एक रेकॉन आणि एक सिस्ट्रॉन असतो आणि जेव्हा सिस्ट्रॉनची संख्या 1 असते, सिंगल सिस्ट्रॉन असतो, तेव्हा आपण त्याला मोनोसिस्ट्रॉनिक स्ट्रक्चरल किंवा ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल युनिट म्हणतो. आणि सिस्ट्रॉन्स जर एकापेक्षा जास्त असतील, राईट, या डीएनए मध्ये अनेक सिस्ट्रॉन्स जर असतील एकत्रितपणे तेव्हा आपण त्याला काय म्हणतो? पॉलिसिस्ट्रॉन ट्रान्सक्रिप्शनल युनिट असं म्हणतो. Structural genes in eukaryotes have interrupted non-coding sequences, that is interons. So eukaryotes मध्ये जो सुरुवातीला mRNA तयार होतो त्याच्यामध्ये कोडिंग पार्ट असतो आणि नॉन कोडिंग पार्ट असतो. राईट, सो जर आपण सांगायचं झालं तर हा mRNA आहे असं समजूया. राईट, या mRNA मध्ये जो eukaryotes मध्ये mRNA तयार होतो त्याच्यामध्ये पार्ट्स असतात. राईट, युनिट्स असतात. राईट, आणि त्याच्यामधले हे जे युनिट आहे जे ट्रान्सक्राईब करत नाही त्याला आपण इंट्रॉन्स म्हणतो आणि हे जे युनिट आहे डार्क रिजन जे दाखवते मी ते आहे एक्झॉन्स. राईट, सो जो mRNA तयार होतो त्याच्यामध्ये युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो mRNA तयार होतोय त्याच्यामध्ये इंट्रॉन्स आणि एक्झॉन्स असे बँड्स पाहायला मिळतात आणि म्हणूनच आपण या mRNA ला प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट किंवा HNRNA म्हणतो, कारण हा जो आहे हा mRNA अजूनही इमॅच्युअर आहे. राईट, प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये भाग घेण्याच्या लायक नाहीये. राईट, म्हणजे या mRNA मध्ये कोडिंग आणि नॉन कोडिंग पार्ट्स पाहायला मिळतात. जे नॉन कोडिंग युनिट्स असतात त्याला आपण इंट्रॉन्स म्हणतो आणि जे कोडिंग युनिट्स असतात, कोड करणारे किंवा ज्यांच्याकडे इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे असे जे युनिट्स आहेत त्यांना आपण एक्झॉन्स असं म्हणतो. आणि mRNA जो आहे तो जर आपल्याला प्रोसेस करायचा असेल तर या प्रोसेसिंग मध्ये युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये mRNA ला एका विशिष्ट प्रक्रियेतून पार जावं लागतं ज्याच्यामध्ये आपण या mRNA ला काय करतो? प्रोसेस करतो. प्रोसेस करतो म्हणजे नेमकं काय करतो? आपण त्याच्यातले इंट्रॉन्स काढून टाकतो. राईट, त्यातनं इंट्रॉन्स निघून गेले की उरतात फक्त एक्झॉन्स आणि याला आपण फिनिश्ड mRNA म्हणू शकतो. आपण बघितलं की जो mRNA युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये तयार होतो तो डायरेक्टली प्रोटीन सिंथेसिस मध्ये पार्टिसिपेट करू शकत नाही. त्याला आपण HNRNA असं म्हणतो किंवा हेट्रोजिनियस न्यूक्लियर RNA असं म्हणतो. आणि हा जो RNA असतो सुरुवातीला नॉन फंक्शनल असतो. त्याला फंक्शनल करण्यासाठी त्याला काही प्रोसेसेस मधून जावं लागतं आणि कुठल्या त्या प्रोसेसेस असतात ते आपण शिकणार आहोत. राईट, युकॅरियोट्स मध्ये जो आरएनए ट्रान्सक्राईब होतो, डीएनए वरती जो जी कॉपी तयार होते तिला आपण प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट असं म्हणतो. ही जी प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट आहे ही अजूनही फंक्शनल नाहीये, काम करणारा युनिट नाहीये, म्हणून त्याला पहिले प्रोसेसिंग करावं लागणार आहे. प्रोसेसिंगच्या नंतर त्याला मॅच्युरेशन या प्रोसेस मधनं पुढे जावं लागणार आहे आणि त्याच्यानंतर तो जो आरएनए आहे किंवा एचएनआरएनए आहे हा एमआरएनए मध्ये किंवा फंक्शनल आरएनए मध्ये कन्वर्ट होतो. प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट इज नॉन फंक्शनल. सो जी प्रायमरी ट्रान्सक्रिप्ट असते सुरुवातीला जो एमआरएनए तयार होतो डीएनए वरती तो नॉन फंक्शनल असतो. का नॉन फंक्शनल असतो? कारण त्याच्यामध्ये एक्झॉन्स आणि इंट्रॉन्स असे पार्ट्स पाहायला मिळतात. सो जो एमआरएनए तयार होतोय डीएनए वर तो कसा आहे? इट इज हॅव्हिंग एक्झॉन्स अँड इंट्रॉन्स. सो एक्झॉन्स अँड इंट्रॉन्स दाखवायचे झाले तर तुम्हाला इथं दिसतंय की हे जे पार्ट आहेत लाईट कलर रिजन जो आहे त्याला आपण इंट्रॉन्स म्हणूया आणि जे डार्क कलर रिजन्स आहेत त्याला आपण एक्झॉन्स म्हणूया. राईट, सो हा एमआरएनए किंवा एचएनआरएनए हा लांब आरएनए झाला. राईट, यातले पहिले इंट्रॉन्स काढून टाकावे लागणार आहे तेव्हा हा एमआरएनए फंक्शनल बनणार आहे. Let's talk about the processing and maturation process of the mRNA. In eukaryotes, the mRNA that is formed as a transcript is not a functional mRNA. It is called as primary transcript or it is also called as a hnRNA. Now let us see what are the processes in which the mRNA or the hrNA gets converted into the functional mRNA. The processes that the mRNA undergoes is splicing, the capping and the tailing method. Let us talk about splicing first. During processing only introns are removed and it is called as splicing. So if you see this mRNA, right, you can see the bands, red and yellow bands, right? The red bands are called as introns and the yellow bands are called as exons. In splicing, the introns, that is the red bands, have to be removed. So you can see the splicing taking place where the red bands have been forming a loop and which will be removed from the mRNA. So the first step is that is removing of the introns from the hnRNA or heterogeneous nuclear RNA. Right? You have to remove the introns first. Right? Exons are joined in definite sequence by DNA ligase enzyme and it is now called as hnRNA or it is called as heterogeneous mRNA. So what happens when these introns are removed? The exons are joined end to end. You can see the exons being joined together, and when that happens we call this RNA as hnRNA. Right? Then the capping process takes place. Methylated guanosine triphosphate is added to the 5' end. So you can see that this is the 5' end of the mRNA which was transcribed. So this is the 5' end, all these are the 5' ends, and you can see a cap which is of it is methylated guanosine triphosphate. Right? After splicing, the capping process takes place and a methylated guanosine triphosphate cap is added at the 5' end. After that, the tailing is done. Polyadenylation takes place at 3' ends. Right? So you can see a tail being added here. It is a polyadenylated tail. It is called as poly A tail at 3' end. And after the process of removing the introns, capping and tailing, now the mRNA is ready or it is fully processed hnRNA. It is now called as mRNA. Now we can call it as mRNA, and this mRNA is then transported out from the nucleus outside into the cytoplasm through the nuclear pore.